come on a roller coaster of a ride, if you will. First, I'm going to talk about a very, very difficult lesson for me. To do that, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to come with me to Denmark. Here we are in Copenhagen. Here we are at Menu. Menu is it's Spinneys. Menu is Alfair. It's a very nice supermarket chain. And ladies and gentlemen, it was a Saturday afternoon. My wife had released me and I was shopping, looking for nice food and deciding what could I possibly get away with buying and then sneaking it home. But my shopping experience, ladies and gentlemen, was interrupted. It was interrupted by a phone going off. Now, you've experienced this, and it was one of those ringtones that just keeps on going and going and going and going. And eventually, as I'm pushing my trolley around, I turn and I see this lady here. So if you direct your attention right here, this lady here, gray hair. Now, I may have some gray hair as well, ladies and gentlemen, but this lady is a gray-haired. This was, if you would excuse, this is an old lady. And me and some other shoppers, we looked, and I did exchange glances with some other shoppers, and we went, oh, Jesus. And the phone was ring, 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 and we looked over, and I saw this lady here. This lady here, she did the dance, right? Okay, she was hunting. Where's my phone? And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, her trolley is there, and there is a bag. And I'm thinking, look in the bag, look in the bag. And she's in the bag. I don't. Ring, ring, ring. And it's very loud, very loud. And I am slightly frustrated. I think other shoppers are. I can see that there was a chap serving here, and the noise was annoying. Eventually, I'm watching out the corner of my eye, and the lady, she's looking in her bag, and she goes, oh. Hello? Now, my problem, ladies and gentlemen, is I had made an assumption. I had made an assumption that an old lady, she was hunting for her phone. Now, she couldn't find her phone. I was astonished, embarrassed, humbled, humiliated, I may say, ladies and gentlemen, because when she then went, oh, and she answered the phone call on her Apple Watch. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem for me because my assumption was wrong. My assumption was that she doesn't get technology. She doesn't do technology. Really, really interesting. So all through my career, I'm always trying to say, is that an assumption or is that true? So my first message to you, ladies and gentlemen, is, are you making the correct assumptions? Because I'm sorry to say, I was not. So from a digital standpoint, I think it's very easy to assume that customer there is not digital. This customer is, but that one can't possibly be. Really interesting lesson that I take with me continually. Okay, so the risk of assumption. Now, my next question for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from Sohar International, and I have a question about Sohar International. What's our largest branch in Oman? What's our largest branch in Oman? Is it MBD? Is it Zeba? Well, no. No, ladies and gentlemen. This is our largest branch. By a factor, depending on the message, the metric, by a factor of 10, by a factor of 100, by a factor of 1,000 potentially, depending on the metric. This is our largest branch. Again, the assumptions required on banking and technology are important. Now, when I'm asking you this question, what's your biggest branch? Because our biggest branch, the answer is quite straightforward, okay? But it's mobile for us. It's digital for us. So what's your biggest branch? What could you be potentially missing? Just a really interesting question to make sure that we're all following the ongoing strategy of digital transformation. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I really would like to do today is, in the spirit of digital transformation, is talk to you a little bit about open banking. Now, open banking is coming. It's coming to Oman. In many countries, open banking is a developing activity. Now, let me just give you some definitions here, right? So there's a lot of activity happening in Oman. CBO, the central bank, is leading the charge. We as the banks are following quickly behind them, very enthused by open banking. But let's just talk about a definition. What's open banking from a digital transformation standpoint? Effectively, it says, now here, this is from Wikipedia. I've got hundreds of different definitions, but the Wikipedia one, which must be true, the use of open APIs that enable third-party developers to build applications and services around the financial institution. Now, what I'd like to do, ladies and gentlemen, is take you through a few examples of how open banking is being used in other countries, just to ensure that we're all focused on what we could be doing with open banking when it arrives here in Oman. It's really, really exciting. So here's an example of open banking. Now, let me show you an incumbent bank in the UK, Barclays. This is the Barclays app. Here we have, this is one of my bank accounts in the UK. You can see my current account, some 2 credit cards, all fine. Now, I am a Barclays customer, but I'm also a Royal Bank of Scotland customer. And it would be convenient to me, ladies and gentlemen, if I can see all of my accounts in one place. And this is the brilliance of open banking. It frees your data, enables others to get and use your data with your permissions. So here is how I have added my Royal Bank of Scotland account into my Barclays account. All I did, I clicked on a menu. I said, add account from another bank. I've got my choices here. I select RBS. I pop up the RBS app. I select my account, the account I want to show. I've got two demo accounts here with RBS. Boom, your request is complete. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's tap, 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 done. It's really quick, really easy. Here then is my Barclays app, but you see now, here's my RBS account, and then I can tap on this, and I can see my transactions. Really simple, really easy. Now, these are just demo accounts that I maintain just so I can see what's happening. Not very interesting in terms of transactions, I know. But if you think about the user experience, being able to put your data from other financial providers in one app is really exciting. But what different ideas could you think of that you could use customer data with their permission? What could you do with it? It's really, really quite exciting. Now, another aspect here, seamless payments with open banking. The other aspect with open banking is you can make payments really quickly. Now, if you're like me, even though it's very simple to make a transaction today here in Oman, a bank transfer, there is a little bit of a headache, right? There is a little bit of a, you've got this long number to type in, you've got to make sure it's accurate. There's a little bit of, it's not as seamless as it could be. Let me show you what we will hopefully have shortly here in Oman with open banking. So this is Nutmeg, a robo-advisor, an investment product service. And here is my Nutmeg account, okay? I've got some different accounts here for the children. I can see what's happening. But the key aspect here, the key aspect I'd like you to look at, ladies and gentlemen, is pay in. Right? So Nutmeg is a third-party investment service, and they want me to be able to pay easily. We as banks, we want you to be able to pay easily as well. I click on pay in. I select the bank. Up comes a page that says, how much? I type in £10. Tap. Done. I haven't had to use a debit card. I haven't had to use a credit card. I haven't had to type in a very long number. Everything's simple. I just press, tap, tap, done. So this seamlessness of payments makes things very, very easy for the third party, for Nutmeg, to attract and retain customers and get people to use services. But it's also very efficient for banks because you completely reduce the risk of missed payments or inaccurate payments. Let me show you that again Freetrade is a service that you can use for buying and selling shares. Here's how they've implemented that open banking, that seamless payment, ladies and gentlemen, right? Here's my £107 portfolio. I'm just testing. I then want to top up. You see again, top up. It's interesting, the language they're using, top up. I select instant transfer from Monzo, from my digital bank in the UK. Are you absolutely sure? I say yes. Done. And if you look here, right at the top of the page, you can see the notification coming in, showing that payment has arrived real time. So from an open banking perspective, what that's enabling is really quick, really simple payments. And if you think about your own usage of payments today, there's a little bit of friction there, right? A little bit of friction. So this removes the friction. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to show you is Plum. That's my watch is speaking to me there. Siri's speaking to me. Now, here's a question for you. Would you use a robo-saver? It's a product that helps you save. Now, I think we're all very good at saying, yes, saving's important. We must. Yes, we all save. But actually, having an app or a service do it for you is quite interesting. So the last message I've got for you here is to show you a really interesting use of this open banking capability. And the question I have for you is, would you use something like this if it was in a map? Okay, so here is Plum. And it is a little bit frustrating as a banker to have a fintech app say, Plum. It's like giving your bank a brain, because I think we'd like to think we're already fully there with brains. But this is an interesting service. Here is the first facility that they offer. It's called a weekly depositor, and that's very simply, it looks at your transactions. It looks at how much money you're spending because you've given it permission to look at your bank transactions. And it automatically says, I think you can afford £17 a week of savings. And I say, okay, thank you. How often I selected weekly. Okay, let's move on. Roundups. Now, you may have come across roundups. That's where if you spend £1.76, the 24 real balance is 24 beza, or 240 beza, is rounded up. So it just saves for you in an interesting way. I say, yes, please. So what Plum does is it looks at my bank account, and it looks at all the different transactions I'm making, and it rounds them up, ladies and gentlemen. It just rounds them up to the nearest real. And it takes that saving, puts it away, saves it for me. Paydays. Now, interestingly, one of the best days to save, I don't really want to hear this, but the best day to save is payday. Payday. Now, that's the 15th for Sohar International. And I save £50. And that's because Plum said, look, I think you can afford £50. Okay. So that happens automatically. It's fire and forget. I don't have to think. Now, this is curious. This is very, very important in the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. Rainy days. And I feel I do need to explain. Many of my colleagues from Sohar International wonder why every morning I walk in to the elevator into the office going, oh, look, it's beautiful. It's a blue sky outside. It's a blue sky again. Because that's not guaranteed in the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, rain is much more guaranteed. Now, when it's raining, we as British people, we hate the rain. Okay, I have 44 years of rain, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want any more. When it rains, we stay in. When it rains, we don't want to go out. We don't spend money. So saving for a rainy day is an important context in the UK. So what Plum have done is they've introduced a rainy day feature. Now think about this in the context of banking. How would you react if your bank said, I'm trying to think, what's the equivalent in Oman? Saving for a sunny day? Saving for a 50-degree day? I'm not quite sure. I just bring on the heat. I love the heat. Now, this is interesting because Plum says, look, when it rains in the UK, we'll save. How much are we saving? And I've said, okay, £5. And so when it rains, ladies and gentlemen, Plum logs into my bank, takes £5 and saves it for me. Really interesting. Would you use this kind of feature? It's a really interesting way of thinking about what's possible with open banking. They're looking at weather. They're looking at weather and using that as a methodology to help me save. Now, I like that. I like the concept of it. 52-week challenge. This is an interesting one. This is where Plum says, take the 52-week challenge. I will save £1 or £1 a week. But then the next week, I'm going to save 2. The week after that, 3. The week after that, £4. By the end of the year, you'll have 1,378 riyals or pounds saved. I said, that's really cool. I like that. I'll take the 52-week challenge. Click. And every week, ladies and gentlemen, this is done for me. Now, what's interesting here is this is using that plumbing, that underlying plumbing that's coming to a man. Open banking is coming to a man. So how can we, and it's not just banks, it's third-party providers, how can you use this data to provide interesting, stimulating, and useful services for customers? Okay, so look out for open banking, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming soon. We, of course, Sohar International, massive fans of this concept, but all banks will be bringing open banking shortly and in due course.